Genesis 1, verses 3 through 5. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. God called light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning the first day. Now, sometimes when I read these, I think about what other individuals might say, and it gets a little bit confusing. God said, "Let there be light." I don't think too much into this. God spoke, and there was light. Some people say, "Well, could God really speak? Does God have lips?" And so forth. Whether it is from lips as we think of it, or just you hear the words, or you hear the words in your mind. Not that there was anybody to hear them back then. Um, People get too lost on details on that. Instead of thinking about the glory of God. Um, think about that. Where God just speaks and it happens. Um, I try to speak in my home. My wife doesn't listen to me at all. So it doesn't happen. Um, just go out there and do it yourself. Um, no, she doesn't do that, but I'm sure she thinks it sometimes. Uh, This is a little bit different than we're talking here. Um, Let there be light. Now, this is not like the sun and so forth. That's created later on. Um, some commentaries, and I've read different commentaries on that, will talk about how this is the light of God, the goodness of God, and but then that down below it kind of alludes to the day and night. So there's a little bit of a mixture of the two there for some viewpoints. Um, Either way, this isn't the sun, but this illuminates everything. So remember, you have your current chaos that's existing. You have your water and so forth. Nothing's really been formed together, but now the goodness, the greatness, the glory of God has been brought into the mix. Um, and God saw that the light was good. Everything God creates is good. And this just reinforces that. Um, it's not done by chaos, where sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. The I think about the creation, and I think about this a lot. Um, driving to work, and I see trees, for example, and I think of the perfection of those trees. You might say, "Well, what do you mean perfection? There's dead branches, and this one's not quite growing straight, and so forth." And wouldn't it be a boring world if everything was perfect? So by perfection, things were made so that they're different. Um, Maybe it's not this nice symmetrical world that we view. I teach computer science, and one of the packages is a package called Blender. And with Blender, you can run scripts. They're written in programming language called Python, and it'll go through and create a bunch of trees. And the idea on it is that there is randomness built in there so that each tree would look different. Well, I guarantee if it went through and created all the number of trees that we have on this planet in a virtual world, there would not be that perfection that we see in real life. Um, the perfection, a lot of what I see in nature is not the perfection that it's exactly symmetrical, but that it's unique. There's not one tree that's the same as another tree. I sometimes wonder, I'm not very good at science, but I sometimes wonder if that's true with grass. Is there any clump of grass the same as any other clump of grass across the entire planet? Think about that. Could you create? Can you create anything? I sure can. I had a robotics competition not too long ago, and if you looked at some of my creations, it's pretty bad. You might wonder if I drink or something, but no, I don't drink. Not anymore. It's a long time ago. Um, but the creation of the planet is just stupendous. Um, Glory to God. it astounds me when I think about it. The more you learn about DNA, you learn about how all that works together, and all the what seems like an infinite number of elements that go into creation. Um, it doesn't happen just randomly. And God separated the light from the darkness. Now again, um, we're not talking about the sun and so forth, and the sun going down. That comes later on. Um, God called the light day, and darkness He called night. So He started to establish an order on that. What's it going to mean for the day, and what's it going to mean for the night? And there was evening, and then there was morning, the first day. Again, the first day kind of sets the stage for the coming verses, where he's talking about creation happening over certain days. Could God have created everything the first day? Possibly. These aren't biblical items, but everything's possible with God. I remember in college I took a religion class, I took a ethics class, and both of them kind of touched upon, especially religion. They both touched upon Christianity and so forth. And there was one individual in the religion class. I think she's a Baptist of some sort, and she got really bent out of shape by something the instructor asked the class actually, but she tried to answer it. He said, can God do anything? And of course she was, yeah, well, of course He can, and I believe He can. And then he said, well, can God create a rock that He can't lift? And she said, of course He can. And it's kind of a trick there, because if He can create create a rock that He can't lift, well, then He can't lift the rock. There's something He can't do. On the other hand, if He said that that's not possible because He can't create a rock, because He can lift any rock, again, it's a paradox there. So you might say, well, which is it? Which is the answer? The thing of it is we cannot think that God's on the same plane as us. That same logic that drives us is what drives God. So you sit there and think, well, this doesn't make any sense. This defies the laws of physics and so forth. You can't think along those lines, because God is beyond our laws. And so some of the things people sit there and shake their head later on about, it's like, well, this isn't possible. It's just like, well, if you created the laws of physics, couldn't you bend them? Couldn't you alter them? Couldn't you violate them? Yeah, you could. I hope you enjoy Genesis 1 as much as I do. I start thinking about God's creation, what God does, and God is truly glorious.